Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is JT and I'm an aspiring novelist hoping to publish my manuscripts one day. Since I can only draw stick figures and I can't pay a graphic artist what they rightfully deserve to be paid for their work yet, I decided to use The Sims as a temporary visualizer for my stories since I already play it. Before we get started, please do me a huge favor and join my Patreon newsletter. It is completely free, I promise you, though you're welcome to support me if you like. It's just my way of building community with people who love books and storytelling like I do, and it'll give me the chance to show literary agents that there are people who might be interested in buying my books down the line. You can essentially think of it as an emailing list, so I'll be sending out a bi-weekly newsletter starting mid-December as I document my publishing journey. I'll also upload some more visualizers for my stories, sharing snippets and sneak peeks of other works, including a fan fiction I'm writing that follows the events of Wicked for good. So, if you're interested, please head over and sign up. I added the link to my description below. I would appreciate it tremendously. Great! Now that we're all done with housekeeping, let's get to the good stuff. Since we gotta protect the IP and everything, I will be referring to my story as Torched. It's not the actual name, but I changed some details for the sake of clarity and safekeeping. However, I am using the characters' real names as you see on the screen. I mainly use The Sims to build lots and properties since I enjoy interior design, and The Sims gave me a lot of freedom to do that. I don't have a whole lot of experience designing Sims characters, but I'll get better at it. I went ahead and downloaded a bunch of CC and spent hours upon hours trying to create the characters for my story. Honestly, I don't think they look that bad for someone who's only ever created Sims using the base game features, so I will take the small victory. So, Torch takes place in the familiar world of Earth, but there's some secondary worlds that we're introduced to as well. If you've ever seen Chinese fantasy dramas like Eternal Love on Netflix, for example, same vibe in regard to traveling between worlds. I consider Torch to be a mid-fantasy story. For those who are unfamiliar, low fantasy takes place in the world as we know it, like for example, Twilight, where it's relatively grounded. High fantasy, like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, takes place in a completely separate and made-up world. So Torch is a mid-fantasy because it's both. Alright, without further ado, let's meet our first main protagonist, Eerie. Yes, Eerie as in creepy. She belongs to the Nightshine clan, which has been warring with the Luminary clan for thousands of years. Eerie was raised as a soldier by her father, making her vigilant and dangerous. However, over the centuries, she's grown weary of all the conflict, plus she has her own demon she's been dealing with, but that's explored later in the novel. Eerie retires and decides to live among the humans to rediscover her humanity, since her training required her to be emotionless and vicious. She operates as Eerie Stone, a successful art gallery director who has contracts all over the world and runs a well-known gallery in upstate New York among the elite. Our next main character is Neffy. So, Neffy belongs to the Luminary clan and wants nothing more than to be promoted from her fledgling status. For both the Nightshine and Luminary clans, members are either born into them or join later on. So Neffy was born into the Luminary clan, so there's a certain expectation of her to succeed. But after centuries of failures, Neffy develops incredibly low self-esteem, like Satan's basement low self-esteem. And she starts to harbor a lot of resentment with her clan and fellow clan members. So, after another painful failure and a humiliating interaction with her elders, she goes to the human world to lick her wounds, where she inadvertently meets Eerie. Now, due to the long-standing hatred between their enemy clans, Neffy is immediately defensive, but learns that she's no match for Eerie. But remember, Eerie really doesn't care for all of the feuding like that, so instead she walks away, sparing Neffy. Neffy is further embarrassed by the fact that she's only alive due to Eerie's mercy, and upon learning that Eerie was a much more dangerous opponent than she was prepared to deal with, Neffy returns to her clan to report to our third main protagonist, Pyson. So, Pyson was originally a well-respected warrior in the Luminary clan, but after an incident with an elder, he was demoted to warden of the clan's academy. He loves his work, and it's still a prestigious position, but it's not the one Pyson wants. After Neffy reports Eerie to him, he tells her that Eerie is infamous among the Luminary clan. She's destroyed many of their members over the years, but managed to evade capture. Pyson realizes apprehending Eerie would be his best shot at regaining his warrior rank, and Neffy believes if she helps Pyson reacquire his status, he'll help her finally get promoted as well. So, Neffy decides to spy on and stake out Eerie in the meantime, while Pyson makes the preparations. Eerie immediately notices Neffy, but the two come to an agreement not to target each other. After this, Neffy starts to spend more and more time with Eerie, and the two eventually develop a deep bond. They carry on like this for a while, and everything is good, until Pyson summons Neffy to assist him in hunting down Eerie and putting her on trial in front of the entire Luminary clan, which is a guaranteed execution. As you can imagine, the day Neffy, Pyson, and Eerie all find themselves in the same room with each other, all hell breaks loose. And so, one of my favorite parts in this novel was writing the complicated relationship between the three main characters, and trust me, it only gets messier. Morals are definitely optional in this series, but the characters are still lovable, I promise. It's got a lot of fun tropes we all know and love, but I did try my best to subvert them a little bit, including an accidental marriage. Torched has themes of friendship, codependency, acceptance, and also touches on some really important and sometimes heavy topics, but it's still pretty commercial friendly in my eyes. It's an adult fantasy because the main characters are all in their 20s, or at least the equivalent because they're all like several centuries old or whatever. It's a multi point of view, and this story is my absolute heart and soul. It was so much fun to write it. I'm so proud of this, and I can't wait to share it with the world one day. So, yeah, those are my three protagonists. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for spending some time with me and listening to me chatter on. See you guys next time!